Hello my friends, and welcome back to our channel, Home is Where Our Heart Is. My name is Dane, author of the book Knowledge to Forage, Wild Edible and Medicinal Plants and Trees. I hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you are in the world, and thank you all for joining me here on this cold, damp autumn's morning. The sun has just begun to rise. It's the dawn of a new day, and them autumn rains have come. It's been raining here heavily on and off for weeks now. That rain falls down to the earth and softens up the soil that was once cooked dry by the summer's sunshine. The seasons bring with them many gifts. The springs, the shoots and flowers. The summer, the sweet fruits, and the autumn, the hearty roots, because that soft soil softens up. The roots swell as the plants brace for the colder months ahead. And there's no more brilliant root than I can think of than that of the burdock plant. So if you're interested, then come with me and we'll dive into the world of the burdock plant, and we'll learn how to identify its nutritional and medicinal properties and its inspiring history. So the burdock's Latin name is Arctium lapa, and it's in the Asteraceae family, which makes it related to the sunflowers and the daisies. And the burdock has spread its wings and flown away because it can be found growing pretty much all around the world, and it's originally native to Europe and Asia. Now, most commonly it's known as burdock, and I really like that name. It just has a special ring to it, doesn't it? Burdock. But you can also find it being called thorny burrs or beggar's buttons. Now, to find burdock, one of the first things we need to understand is its habitat. Where does this plant like to live? Now, it grows not only in abundance around the world, it's also incredibly easy to find too, because it likes to live in disturbed areas. You'll often find it along pathways, woodland pathways, or around the edges of fields. So we're just going to walk around the outside of this field, and I'm pretty sure we'll come across some burdock very quickly. And we really didn't need to look far. I'm probably 20 seconds round the corner from where we just were. As soon as I got round, I was greeted by my good friend here, the burdock. There's probably 100 large burdocks all around this damp corner of this field. Now, these burdocks are probably 15 meters away from that field, so I know that they're good to eat because they wouldn't have been affected by any chemicals. Now, to identify burdock is super simple. Of course, you can see it here with its big leaves. Now, the first thing you need to do is understand that the burdock is what's called a biennial. This means that the burdock has a 2-year life cycle. In its second year's growth, it would be up taller than me, spread out wide with these purpley pink flowers, and these transform into the sticky burrs that stick to our clothes and our pets and even in our beards. And we don't want to be looking for the second year's growth. We want to be looking low to the ground for the first year's growth, because this is when the plant is putting all its energy into its roots. All the nutrition and all the goodness it absorbs from the world is in its roots. All the little miracles that it's creating down under the ground. Now, to identify burdock in its first year growth is super simple. As soon as you see it, you'll see these big leaves. Now, these leaves are like a giant long heart shape. You see these lobes at the bottom where the leaf joins the stem? It makes it appear like a heart. Then when you look around the outside of the leaf, you can see they're wavy, like a frilly curtain. And then one of the key ways that we know that this is burdock is because it's green on the top, and when you lift it over, it's fuzzy, almost fuzzy white underneath. Now, this is unique to burdock. Then we have its stems. If you follow its stems down, firstly you can see that they're green and they fade to a purplish colour, and they have a groove running down them like celery. and then at the bottom you'll see all the stems meet together, so it grows out the ground in a circle, what's known as a rosette. And one extra way you can identify burdock, which will help you identify burdock, is by the veins on the top of the leaf. These veins tend to have a purpley pink tint, and if you look really closely, they branch out from the center vein and split. They come along the center vein, reach out and split before they reach the edges of the leaf. Now there's a few plants that you could mistake burdock for. You could mistake it for the broadleaf dock, the yellow dock, also known as the curly dock, or lords and ladies. But the key way to tell the difference between all of them is the burdock is the only one that has this fuzzy, woolly texture underneath. And if you want some extra details to stop you mistaking them for lord and ladies, the only one of the three that isn't edible is the lord and ladies veins on the leaf curl round before they reach the edge, so it creates a veinless bumper around the outside, a veinless rim. So once you're confident that you can identify burdock correctly, then you can welcome all the joys and all the goodness of this plant into your life. The rains have returned, but I don't mind. I love being outdoors in nature in all weathers. The cold, the sun, the rain, it all just makes me feel alive. Now, the burdock, the whole plant is edible. The leaves, the stem, and the roots. The leaves are most commonly eaten in early spring or cooked into soups, but I personally don't really enjoy them because they're quite fuzzy. You can peel the stems when you're out on a hike in the fresh air as a celery alternative, a quick roadside snack, but it's the roots that are mainly used for food because the burdock has a huge tap root. These tap roots are like giant parsnips or carrots, and they reach deep into the ground and draw up all these minerals and vitamins and sustenance that all the other plants around can't reach, and this helps the plant become so nutritious. I've not got any special tools, just a garden trowel, and my best advice and my top tips for digging up a burdock root is to dig a hole next to the root, not around it. If you dig a hole next to the root, then you can pull the root into the hole. So here we've dug up our burdock root. Not the most pretty thing in the world, but this root is an absolute powerhouse of nutrition, packed full of protein, carbohydrates and fibre. Now the list of vitamins and minerals packed within this root is vast, and it has powerful antioxidant properties. This root is still commonly sold around the world, in the Asian world, as a root vegetable, and you can buy it in the markets in these places just like we would buy carrots or parsnips. Now, depending on where you are in the world, depends on, of course, what recipes it's used in. In the Asian countries, in Japan, for example, it's known as gobo, and they like to cut it into thin slices and put it in stir fries. Whereas me, personally, over here in little old rainy England, I like to boil it with dandelion root to create the traditional medieval drink known as dandelion and burdock. This drink's one of my favourite drinks. Not only does it taste amazing, but it brings with it all the health benefits of the dandelions and burdock root too. Now, the burdock plant isn't just a powerhouse of nutritional properties, it also contains a wealth of medicinal properties too. In traditional herbalism, which is the knowledge passed down through the generations, still used by many herbalists today, both the seeds and the root of the burdock were used to treat many ailments, such as colds and flu, to help break up kidney stones, ease stomach disorders, help heal skin issues such as eczema and even cancer. But above all, the burdock is said to be a purifying plant, a plant that's able to purify and cleanse the body. Historically, in the history books and in the herbalism books, it's said that this plant can clean the toxins from your blood. Now, what's absolutely fascinating about the burdock plant is when someone says a plant can purify your blood, you might think, well, that sounds like a bit wishy-washy, but I actually found some studies showing that this is actually true, and the burdock plant is able to remove toxins from your blood. I found multiple studies on the burdock plant that found that the seeds, leaves and roots are rich in antioxidants. A pharmacological review found the roots of burdock contain active ingredients that detoxify blood and also promote blood circulation to the skin's surface. And there's even research that's shown that the burdock root has anti-tumour, anti-inflammatory and antiviral effects. Like the great Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. It's wild foods like the burdock plant that teach us that food grown organically, just like this, out in the fresh air, being fed by only rain and sunshine, don't just feed us, they heal us. Now, when it comes to the mythology and folklore that surrounds the burdock plant, there's one long-standing tradition in Edinburgh called the Buryman, in which once a year a man is covered from head to toe in burdock burrs and walks through the town for over 9 hours. What I find really interesting about this tradition is the meaning of the ceremony has long been forgotten. But my favourite part about the burdock's history comes from its story of inspiration, because it's these sticky burrs that develop on the burdock plant that inspired a great invention. Do you know what that invention was? Velcro. In 1941, the inventor of Velcro, a Swiss engineer called George de Mestral, went for a walk in the woods and found himself wondering if the burdock burrs that clung to his clothing could be turned into something useful. After nearly 20 years of hard work, he successfully recreated the sticking ability of the burdock burrs with 2 strips of fabric, one covered in thousands of tiny hooks, the other covered in thousands of tiny loops. He's named his invention Velcro and patented it in 1955. Today, Velcro is used in all different types of items of everyday use to extreme things all around the world. It's used for tying up our children's shoes, it's used in cars, it's even used in spaceships and in healthcare. Like the great poet William Wordsworth said, let nature be your teacher. George was officially inducted into the Inventors Hall of Fame in 1999 because of his invention of Velcro, which was completely inspired by the burrs of the burdock plant. As always, people, it's been my absolute pleasure to spend this fresh autumn morning with you. If you could do all the modern world things such as like and subscribe to this channel, leave a comment to say hello, ring the bell, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and if you want to own all this knowledge in your hands in a book form, then make sure to check out our book Knowledge to Forage. It took us 2 years to write and I think it's awesome. Most importantly of all, look after yourself, and I'll see you all next time. Peace. Burdock, the humble plant with its huge Jurassic-sized leaves. Not many notice this hidden meal beneath our feet. Its heart-shaped leaves start life growing quietly, wavy and long. Then, without warning, the burdock bursts into life and starts singing its song. Its voice of pink-purple burrs stick to people's clothes and animals' furs. The burdock's children hitch a ride to a new life, to a land to claim.